I'm back. Hello everyone, I'm Frugal Tesla Guy, otherwise known as Mike, and the last video I posted was about the preparations for my 4,000 plus mile road trip that I was going on with my son. And first and foremost, just kind of tell you about the trip. It was phenomenal. I had a great time. It was that combination between the two of us, moms, dads, sisters, brothers-in-laws, and for him, grandmas and grandpas, cousins, aunts and uncles. So just a lot of family in that Texas area, and a lot of Texans in the family. However, going way back, most of the roots are in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, of all places. So but again, a lot of them ended up in Texas. So it was great to see a lot of them. And now on to, of course, the trip itself, getting from point A to point B and then back to point A. And I got to tell you, on a scale of 1 to 10, it was an 11. It was a 12. It exceeded all of my expectations. It was an amazing trip. Now, keep in mind, I had done this road trip before, but just by myself. So it was great having the company with my 10-year-old son with me, and we had a great bonding experience. It was a lot of fun. But I didn't have any range anxiety. I didn't run out of electricity at any point. I didn't have any problems charging. I was able to charge at a decent rate. I didn't have any other mechanical problems with the car. I did have autopilot, which was a big help. And of course, I'm going to be going into that in a future video. So here's kind of what I plan on doing. Of course, I just kind of told you that it was a positive experience. I had a great time with my son. There were several stops along the way, both there and back. So we kind of really got to take in some of the sights as well. So here's kind of how I think I'm going to approach the videos that I'm going to be able to get out of this trip. Number one, I plan on doing kind of getting from point A to point, at least the 2,000 mile road trip itself. It was 2,000 miles plus there, 2,000 miles plus getting back. And I think I documented the trip itself better going from Texas back home. So I'm not going to bore you with getting there and then getting back. What I'm going to do is kind of a detailed look at the experience driving from Central Texas back to Northern California. And I really think that should answer several questions in there. Now, one of the things I would like to mention is that you're juggling between YouTube channel and trying to really keep everybody happy out in the YouTube world, but I'm also trying to make sure that I made this a good experience for myself and my son. So there may have been a few things along the way that I've forgotten to do because, again, you're trying to juggle family and fun with that of trying to upkeep with that YouTube channel as well. So hopefully the documentation that I make from Central Texas back to Northern California will be what a lot of people will need, and hopefully answer a lot of your questions about a long road trip. So that will probably, there's a lot of footage I've got to go through. So that'll probably take me a week, maybe longer, to really get that together and make it effective. Then there are other things that I plan on discussing as well in other videos. I know there were requests about doing a better route planner, and I had an opportunity to play around with it during the trip, and that is something I'll touch on as well in a future video. I will say this. It's closer to a thumbs down on my full experience with a better route planner, so stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up in the coming weeks as well. I'll also, during that video, I'll also talk about my experience with the onboard navigation system in the Tesla Model 3, which, thumbs up, positive experience, a great experience with that. All right, anything else about the trip that I need to talk about? And I'll probably also go into a separate video about the Supercharging Network and my experience with the Supercharging Network, how effective it is, if there needs to be more, if there's plenty, the experience as far as how long it takes to charge. And I can tell you, first and foremost, kind of just firsthand from both trips, from over a year ago to now, I'll tell you this. It has improved. Not necessarily in the overall coverage, that there are more superchargers, and there certainly are in the last year. However, that being said, it's the speed in which the supercharging is. It's much faster than it was when I did my first trip. So that was kind of an uptick and an upgrade in my experience as well. So we'll talk about in a future video about supercharging and what the superchargers offer. You know, you think about when you stop at a gas station, you got that convenience store. You can get snacks, you can go to the bathroom. Well, do you have those options with the superchargers? And you do, for the most part. It may not necessarily be right there. You may have to walk across the street or a few blocks down the road to do that, but it's always good to get the exercise as well. So again, we'll kind of go into that in a lot more detail in future videos. As far as anything else in there, if you can think of anything you'd like me maybe to discuss, I may not necessarily have the footage that may be needed in that particular topic you want me to cover, but I am hoping to get a lot of great content out there for you all, so you can get a better idea about, number one, what a road trip is like in a Tesla Model 3, number two, what the supercharging network is like, and really, you know, all in all, the experience with the supercharging network. And again, there are going to be some other things that we'll be putting out there as well. So again, I'm super excited to share all of this with you and to share this knowledge with you as well. But give me some time. I'm going to do the best that I can to kind of push these out. But I do anticipate it'll probably take at least a week before I can really put together the overall road trip video itself. And then, of course, extending past that, it probably won't take as long. But just give me some time. Have some patience. I will do the best that I can to get these out, but I want them to be effective and I want them to answer as many questions as we can get out there. So stay tuned for all that. Again, I'm excited to share this experience with you. Oh, and by the way, I am now on Twitter. I have been for the last few months. It's not something I've really advertised a whole lot on this channel, so I'll try to kind of mention a little bit more in future videos. But of course, just search for Frugal Tesla Guy. I'll also be sure to post a link to that page at the bottom of this video, on the description. So again, kind of be on the lookout for that. I was able to kind of document a little bit here and post a few things here and there during my trip on Twitter. And of course, outside of the trip, I try to upkeep and keep up with it as well. So thank you all again so much for watching. And by the way, I just wanted to mention this real quickly. Still that overwhelming response for people using my referral code. As I record this today, 2 people have used my referral code today. So again, thank you all so much for that. I'll be sure to post a link to my referral code as well. So if you are planning on purchasing a Tesla anytime soon, you can use that for 1,000 miles of free supercharging, which, by the way, with those free supercharging miles that I've received because of your graciousness of using my referral code, the trip there and back, 100% free. I didn't have to pay for any supercharging sessions whatsoever. So again, I thank you all for that. I wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. So that was phenomenal. That was awesome. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll try to get that video out as soon as I can. Until then, stay positively charged.